Ready to get curious with the book of What If again? Today's what if question is, what if there were never books? Now, if you're a fan of reading or writing, this might be the most terrifying question in the entire book. But don't worry, it's going to be okay. Books, a bunch of words on a bunch of pages, right? Yet there are few things people love and hate as much as books. You might despise a textbook, but not be able to take your hands off other books, like this one. People have even burned books because they viewed them as dangerous. Beyond giving you a few paper cuts or a bruise on the head if one is thrown at you, how can books be dangerous? Well, books don't just contain words. What if it's the ideas in them that make books so powerful or dangerous? What if there never were any books written? People could still communicate ideas verbally, but books allow ideas to spread across greater distances of space and time. Think about your favorite book. If there weren't any books, you'd only be able to hear the ideas and stories of the authors while they were alive. Imagine how many great stories would be lost. And now with the internet, writing continues to spread. More ideas can be shared, and authors long gone can still have a voice. There was a time before books and writing. As it turns out, being in a culture or group of people who can read, even if you cannot read, changes how you think. Catch that? Not only can books teach you about things to think about, they can also teach you how to think about things. Researchers found that if you and everyone around you never developed writing, you'd have a hard time understanding how to generalize objects into categories. Imagine you are in a culture that doesn't read or write. Someone arrives one day and shows you squares and circles on a piece of paper. You might say you see a house, a plate, or a moon, all things that look like squares or circles. But you wouldn't say you see two shapes because shapes is a category that squares and circles belong to. Writing and reading allow your brain to put thoughts out in front of it and think about those things differently. It is the invention of literacy that helped humans develop logic, which in turn helps us to generalize our thoughts. What if books also build on themselves? Not only do some books have sequels so that a single story continues developing, non-fiction books have additions so they can be updated with new information. Spreading and updating new information allows people to develop new ideas and create new technologies. Without books, there'd be no computers, internet, or video games. So to learn a little more about this, we have a little information on Anne Mannigan, a reading researcher. Could you imagine being a reading researcher? Especially if you like reading, it sounds like fun, right? Well, reading is good for you. Reading as little as 6 minutes a day can reduce stress, help your brain function as you get older, and help the prevention of Alzheimer's. But what if there's a difference between reading an electronic book and a paper book? Anne Mannigan, lead researcher on a reading study at Stavanger University in Norway, found that the haptic and tactile feedback of a Kindle does not provide the same support for mental reconstruction of a story as a print pocketbook does. That means that if you can't feel an electronic book in the same way you can feel a paper book, you probably won't remember the book as well as you could. Other studies suggest that a reader's inability to control the text physically turning the pages, bending the pages, or even writing directly on the pages, results in a reduced long-term memory of what was read. So while it's always good to be reading, no matter where or how you're reading, if you're reading and holding a physical copy of a book, there's a good chance, the researchers are finding, that you can understand it more and remember it longer. So for an activity, let's do a remember and tell a story. Read or write a short story. Then try to memorize it. Once you think you've got it, go to a parent, sibling, or friend and recite what you can remember. No notes, just from your memory. Was it difficult to remember it without reading it? So see if you can write a story and then pass it along to others using nothing more than your memory. As always, thank you for your curiosity. I'm really excited to see what you can discover, learn, and do with this question. What if there hadn't been books? And stay curious.